Hey, what's up? I was watching another tarot reader. I was watching D's Divine's Tarot, and he had posted a link to his other channel on some videos that he had produced with his late wife. And when I had watched the channel, I had realized, I had came across this channel years ago when I was doing some research on information. But I was watching it, kind of like binge watching it last night, going over some videos, and then it helped me come up with a new theory to work on, because I've been trying to post this video trying to explain certain topics, but the video somehow would either mess up, then my computer, the hard drive burnt out, so it won't come on. Like, everything just kept happening every time I kept trying to record this particular video, because I was going to tell a certain story about one of my abilities. So I said, maybe it's not meant for me to talk about that, because it seems like everything is happening to make sure that I don't talk about that. But the topic that I wanted to talk about is characteristics, NPCs, and programming. And then I guess the subtitle would be body jumping. So I was thinking about characteristics, like how we play these characters within this dimension. We really think we are this name that we are given at birth. And then we're also told that our name is picked before we're even born, because it always means something. It's significant. It's supposed to be significant. And then it's also, we have this characteristics of the astrology, which is the zodiac. So these energies have characteristics. Our name, astrological, the environment, all of that makes up this character that we claim to be within this dimension. And I'm kind of going to go jump around on these subjects. And we also have what we call NPCs now. NPCs is what the new term for, when I was younger, I used to call them test tube babies. So when I was young, even in elementary school, I was very aware that certain people or certain bodies didn't have what you soul or that living energy within them. I was letting the diesel trucks pass. So when I was younger, I realized that certain people weren't real. They were obviously made some other way to where they're not actual entities here having an experience. They're kind of more of like a duplicate, a clone, or somehow made to just blend in. And to me, they always stood out because they didn't actually think for themselves. They kind of looked, mimic everything around them, and even respond in mimicking ways. And you can probably align, listen to the outside noise, you can probably align this up with zodiac signs too, to where you'll say, well, that's just the characteristics of this zodiac. There was certain individuals that you could tell there was nothing inside of them. You could tell like they were almost an animated robot, even as kids. And as I grew up, those terms kind of changed. You would hear people talk about body doubles and clones, and it's not a real person, so to say. So first I was kind of theorizing on, I know for sure there are clones. There just isn't one way that a clone can be made or even exist. And drop my cards. So I was thinking about these characters and these clones. We that are in these bodies, that animate these bodies, we get lost in the characteristics. Our feelings, our emotions, what we experience, the people, the name, how we look, we all gravitate towards it. And a lot of times that's why we seem depressed when we lose a loved one. It's because of the characteristics we've become so attached to. But when you look at it from a fifth dimensional level of realizing that, okay, I'm reincarnated, I have many lives, so therefore when I left another life, I could have left the family behind, left other loved ones, and then now I'm here starting a new one. Yes, I may come across energies that are familiar, which could have existed in another life, but that reality of looking at things from that level of reincarnation, you actually can't get attached to anything because you're going to come and go. So I would often wonder why people within this dimension become so immersed into depression when they lose a loved one. And it's that bond, it's that energy bond, the experiences, realizing those things brought you joy, and then it's like, now how do I move forward without being able to do those same things? And that's almost a feeling you have when you are born within this world, for those that are reincarnated and remember how they got here. It's just like a total loss of, I don't have anything familiar around me, I don't know what's going on. Then you're taught to be this character, you're taught all this information, and you're taught how to react, how to behave, how to think, how to respond. You're not actually able to allow to be your natural observant self. This is where you start to build up the programming for the ego, the programming to exist within this world. So now I'm gonna jump back to the videos that I was watching, and I'm gonna leave the information in the description too. So within this dimension, we also know that there has been, the information that we're given every day, is so far as like news, movies, entertainment, media, is programming. It's programmed information. It's told to you in a certain way. And then you learn that when you watch entertainment or you see these news stories, the ones that they really push on you, you learn that part of astrology, the big eye in the sky, so to say. Some people call it the oracle, that circle that governs all the energy within this dimension. So there's a part in that video series where they discuss, people playing certain parts, or even clones or characters within the news to keep us believing in certain stories. And one of the things that I remember, one of my first memories was this particular dream I kept having over and over. I was able to see people. I was basically in my dream interacting with people. And then I would see when their soul leaves that body, and either another energy can enter, or the body can have basically automation on its own. Okay, so to give my background on that part of the dream, I'm going to bring it towards the science part. So within physics, we know that the body can astral travel, but there's also other levels in which the body can travel where it's not considered actually astral. We can leave the body. Time can be manipulated. We can have these periods of lost time, glitches, so to say, which I've experienced a lot based on what I'm thinking about, what I'm focused on, time can move and alter around you. You can speed it up at different rates, and we can also leave the body. So one of the things that I could do is like see certain things within my dreams. I remember I had told someone about something I had seen in a dream. And then once I'm in the details of the dream, I was able to figure out the way that I was able to see everything in this person's house as it was happening was because I saw it through the eyes of their child. I was woke, during the time that this happened in their house. I wasn't asleep at that particular time. I was woke. So how was I able to go to sleep, go through somebody else's memory, see what they saw, then the next day, repeat it to that person, and then figure out, okay, everything I saw was actually through the eyes of someone else. So we have the ability to astral travel. We have the ability to see through other people's eyes, other people's memories at all different points of time, which means we can jump out of these bodies at any given time when we want to. Our problem is we get caught up on the timeline thinking that everything has to be linear. So, also, let me add this point too. When we die, sometimes when we die, we actually leave the body before the organs and the heart and everything stops. I personally known, at least 2 people in my family, this as I have seen this happen. And I knew that it was going to happen in that way. I knew the way that they were going to pass. But to everybody else, it seems like when they take their last breath, that's when they leave the body, and that's not true. When my mother passed, before she even passed away, I, discussed with her how everything would happen, how it would play out, how the day would be, how she would even leave her body. So I told her, you're going to leave your body way before you take your last breath. Like, that's the automation of the body. So she didn't suffer or have any pain within herself, within the body. When she left before her last breath. Same thing with my grandmother. And that ability, or it's not just an ability, you have to take in consideration that the body can automate itself. It has an automation to it. So when we leave, this happens when people go into a trance, meditation, or whatever, and then they experience that time lapse or missed time. Because there has been periods where I was actually driving. I can look at a clock, see what time it is. I then can focus on something, and it's like visually I'm automatically in a dream. And at some point I usually panic and try to snap out of it, like, I was just driving. How am I seeing all this? And it's like I got to jump back in my body. And I jump back in my body, and it's like, how the hell did I just drive from there to here? I don't remember stopping at the lights. I don't remember going. But I remember jumping back in my body, like, amazed that, I got to stop doing that. I was scared of it because I was like, what if I crash? How am I doing this? Lately, I've been doing something for the last couple of years where my equilibrium, I can feel myself, my energy jumping in and out of my body. And I notice it because of my multiple sclerosis. When I had my first seizure, my equilibrium was messed up. And for those that never experienced this, you're not going to know what I'm talking about. This is for people that have like cerebral palsy, head injuries, people that have had bad seizures where you lose your balance a lot. You can actually feel the energy wobble within the body. when your equilibrium is off. It's almost like it's if I move my head side to side at a fast rate, it's like I can feel an energy ball in the back of my head kind of wobble. And that's what usually makes me dizzy or get vertigo. And this happened as a result of my seizures. So over time, I've been, trying to correct it, correct my eyes, correct my visions, try to correct my equilibrium, do balancing on one leg, and I have good days and bad days. But it made me aware of a feeling that I never felt before.